Enter.
Welcome, and thank you for riding Wookie Foot. Please remember to keep your arms and hands inside the vehicle at all times. You must be at least this high to ride this ride. Please refrain from talking during the exhibition, or we'll drag you outside and beat the shit out of you.
Bonjour, Anin, NeSe, Indigenikas, Ojibwem, Kevin, Shores, Indigenikas, Jaganashimug, Makwa Nindundame, Gawabami Ganikag, Indunjiba, Minawa, Moorhead, Minnesota, Nunguminde, Chi Miigwech Gichimanadu, Nindo Gichda, Apigish Bimad Ziwewin, Chi Miigwech. This is NeSe, a high rolling shanab. And I had to take that pause there because I thought something was going to go out, but it didn't. But I'm sitting here in my wheelchair listening to Wookie Foot. And I have someone here with me that needs no introduction. But I've known him for a while. And he's another Shanab, Anishinaabe Anini, and in his own rights, a Gajita. So it's Desi. Hey Desi, say hi.
Bonjour, everybody. Bonjour.
So we've been hanging out for a while, and we get into these conversations, and we're like, we should record this. And tonight I said, hey, how about you roll for once? And he said, okay. And so we're both in rolling chairs right now. So we're both in a rolling mood. And so we're going to listen to Wookie Foot.
Yeah.
And talk about stuff. And anything you want to talk about, Desi?
Hang on.
But you can't have dead air. Remember, it's like,
Right.
we don't know what to label this because we don't want to go into the labeling per se, unless we can throw a native flair to it, I guess.
Gotta be on a native note.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you have your pedigree?
Yeah.
You have your BIA number?
Yeah, I do.
Is it tattooed on your forearms like the Jews did?
Damn near.
Well, the Jews didn't do it. Well,
No.
or did they?
Maybe that's another topic.
Oh, that's definitely a topic.
Yeah, another show.
But we do have a similarity to the Jewish people.
That number, right?
Yeah, they had some people killed. A
Oh, you
couple.
mean that?
They had a couple killed,
Uh-huh.
and we had a few.
Oh yeah. More than a few, huh?
Well, more than them.
Yeah.
A couple more.
Yeah.
I've heard mixed numbers,
Okay.
but at one point I did come across the number of 80 million
No
indigenous people.
That many.
That's
80
probably
million.
small numbers.
Okay. Uh-huh. Now, what year did that go down?
Well, are we going to talk about his story or
Our.
history?
Our way. Our word.
Well, unfortunately, I still do not know the greater cycles of our counting system as far as like the ages, because usually it's just like many wabung. Is it wabung before past? Many years ago. What's the count? You hear Shanabs will say, I survived, well, like myself, I've survived 50 winters.
Right.
How many winters have you been around?
53, thank you.
Right?
Yep.
Wasn't it just 54 though?
No, 53.
Okay. So you are my elder. Good.
Thank you.
So that means I can be more childish than you.
A little bit.
Never grow up, I say.
There you go.
Never grow up. I would rather be a child acting like an adult than an adult acting like a child.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, if it is true that from the Phoenicians
Right.
traveling across the Atlantic, then the east of us has been coming here for thousands of years.
Right.
But then if you look at his story, then Columbus
Ooh.
got some money from Spain
Okay.
and said, I'll find a way to India.
What year would that be?
Oh, the old poem.
Oh.
1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Right.
If only the Indians knew what that motherfucker would do. Oh, geez, did we just establish swearing
Maybe.
on this?
We
Well-
don't know yet. We can edit.
I guess we can give that a little, like,
Yep. Thought. Put that on a footnote.
an eagle bone whistle. We should do like or maybe an elk whistle.
Right.
Yeah, or a duck call
Mhm.
on the swear words. We'll figure that out. Or we'll have two versions. Because I'd like, well, I can't start giving people out in the audience $1 like I give my kids.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Good point.
but I apologize. But Columbus did start the genocide. I don't think it was specifically him, but he was the tip of the spear
Right.
that initiated it.
Okay.
But then if you look back prior to the conspiracy theory or conspiracy fact,
Yeah.
that in 1307, when the Knights Templar fled Europe under duress
Right.
because of that fatal Friday the 13th executive order by the Pope and the King to round up all of the Knights Templar and capture them and steal their gold. But they had too many spies everywhere and were notified. And by dawn, they found the fleet gone. The largest fleet known to the world at the time was owned by the Knights Templar, the original bankers of the European world.
Whoa.
And they all disappeared by dawn, and all of their treasures were gone. And over a third of their fleet disappeared.
A third?
1/3 went up to Scotland and started the Scottish Rite Freemasons.
Wow.
The other ones went to England and started the New York,
Uh-huh.
rites of masonry, or no, the York Masons. And then, guess where the other third went?
Where?
Captain Jack Sparrow.
What?
Where do those cats hang out?
Where do they hang out?
Aruba, Jamaica, whoa, I wanna take ya. Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the pirateers, the pirates, you know, what was that famous flag they would wave?
Well, it would be black and white. And what would it look like? Go ahead.
Skull.
There you go. And?
Bones.
Right.
You know what bones they were?
No.
The largest bones on the body.
Okay. Would be?
Femurs.
Okay.
And they would cross the femurs in that kind of a skinny X.
Yeah. Why would that be?
Well, because if it was an irregular X, they would be copying us.
Okay.
Shenobs!
Right. And?
And, but with the skinny X, then if you kind of imagine a little hoop
Okay.
or a curve connecting the ends of the bones together,
Right.
you visualize it,
Yeah, yeah.
that symbol. What's that symbol there? The X with curves on the ends.
Okay.
The infinity symbol.
There you go.
And then you look at the skull and the mathematics of the skull, where the ratio of the eye sockets to the side, to the crescent bones of the ear, and to the mandibles and the jaw, and the space in between the navel cavity. Yeah, it's all mathematics.
Okay.
And Fibonacci sequence.
Right.
And the Fibonacci sequence, you know what they're trying to imitate?
No.
It's Aki,
Really?
the mother.
Right.
Because the mother is all fluid.
Right.
The circle.
Uh-huh.
So the spiral, the golden mean spiral.
Okay.
So that Fibonacci sequence
Mm-hmm.
is man's, not in any,
Right.
but man's imitation of mother or the female,
Wow.
or the dichotomy,
Uh-huh.
you know. But in this existence, I guess the male and female.
Okay.
I don't know, how are they doing
On what?
on that copying of the natural cycle? I guess that's how, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
I guess that's how I would label it.
Uh-huh.
The Fibonacci sequence would be technology,
Okay.
and the golden mean spiral would be nature.
Right.
And those two forces against each other.
Right.
And I wish they weren't against each other, but seemingly they are, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Was that our people's fault?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Well, we did want that black kettle.
Right.
That made life a lot easier.
What year do you figure that came around?
Commercialism?
Yeah.
Or trade?
Both.
Or buying or selling of goods?
All of that.
Oh, geez. Well, now we come back again to the Knights Templar,
Okay.
and where somehow, some way, they found something allegedly under Solomon's tomb in the Holy Lands of Jerusalem, Israel, and it was enough to go back to the church and get them special privileges. And in those special privileges, they started getting major wealth, and then started the whole banking system with the checking system, where you could go and give them a check that was written and stamped by one Templar and give them your gold,
Right.
and then take that check to another Templar palace and go and get your gold.
Okay.
And this is back, I want to say 1,000 years after
That long ago, huh?
Christ.
Oh,
1,000 years after Christ.
A.D.
A.D.
Okay.
What were we doing here on Turtle Island?
Yeah. How long now?
Well, from now that would have been 1,017 years.
Woo. Mighty long time.
And what about those boundaries of ours in North America?
Yeah, what about them?
They were pretty huge. Speaking of a third,
Right.
what's that number? 3, 3, 3, 3. 33 and .33. Dividing the 100 into thirds. The circle.
Okay.
But the Anishinaabe people, that's who we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That'd be our ancestors?
Uh-huh.
Or are we Ojibwe?
Go ahead.
I'd say Anishinaabe.
There you go.
I'd go with that one.
Yeah, me too.
I think the Ojibwe word is a way of dividing the Anishinaabe people.
Right.
But I do like the Ojibwe definition to be puckered upon roasting, or roasted until puckered. Have you heard that one?
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, supposedly we have a special way that we prepare our moccasins that cause the seams to pucker in a way. And so those that want us to look really romantic and the noble, savage, you know, that's the glossy picture of us. But if truth may be told, it meant to be roasted till puckered. And this roasting to be puckered came from the French.
Okay.
That called us Ojibwe. Because after Columbus and then the people started invading North America, the French were definitely cruising through our territories, the Anishinaabe territories.
Right.
And this is after the pirateers and all of them in the Caribbean and all of that.
Yeah.
And then when they created Boston and became the founding fathers and yada, yada, yada. His history, his story, do your research.
Right.
But do your due diligence. So our boundaries.
Yeah.
New York, New York City, west to Iowa, up the Mississippi towards Winnipeg and to the west, all the way back to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And down Canada to Maine, back to New York. Anishinaabe!
All the way around.
That was our hunting grounds, our boundaries.
Okay.
And if you looked at these old maps, some of the original maps, you'll see it divided by the Algonquian.
Okay.
language group, and there's another name I've been struggling to remember for the last couple days.
Right. It may come to you.
Maybe.
Dirty talk.
Or if somebody listens to this, they'll correct us.
There you go.
Right?
Okay.
But then the French called us Ojibwe because they learned that if you were to harm innocents,
Yeah.
that they would take a bear hide, preferably just before the winter, because you know how those bears get nice and thick
Right.
for the winter.
Yeah.
They can get up to 6 inches of fat,
Wow.
and they'll hibernate with that on them.
Okay.
And so they go into hibernation, get this big old thick layers of fat.
Right.
They get one of these bears and they
Okay.
honorably take its life. And then they would stretch it out and lean it over a fire and let this bear fat bubble and get hot as the fat would. You know, probably dripping off some of it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You figure, yeah.
And that individual that harmed innocents would get wrapped up in that hide.
Uh-huh.
And he would survive or he wouldn't. And the common agreement was if it was his time to die, then
Yeah.
it was his time to die. Creator took him.
Right.
If he survived,
Uh-huh.
he survived.
Uh-huh. Cut and dry kind of a thing, eh?
Right. But I don't know if I can be against that method for destroying innocence
Right.
or harming innocence.
Yep.
You know, as a prime example, you know, maybe if they did this to a couple of these men that do this stuff to children, then maybe they wouldn't do it anymore.
Well put.
It
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
would
okay.
deter them
Yeah.
a lot better than this false system of
Yeah.
arresting
Right.
the church. So the numbers,
Yeah.
80 million at one time. The Anishinaabe people, a really good movie, if you can find it, old movie called Ikwe,
Equate.
IKWE,
Okay.
and it talks about and it shows the plagues as they ran rampant through the Anishinaabe territory and wiped us out.
Right.
And then eventually there came those religious persecuted people.
Right.
You know, they were so persecuted they needed a place to go. And so they said, hey, well, since their ship was allegedly blown off course, allegedly right smack dab into the center between the boundary lines of the Iroquois Confederacy and the Anishinaabe people.
Imagine that.
Damn, what a heck of a storm.
Had to have been.
Ironically, in this little bay area where that storm accidentally shoved them to,
Yeah.
was where a village used to be. And everybody was gone.
Where'd they go?
In the ground.
Okay.
In the ground.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But that's more of that history.
Okay.
So I'd say go read a book, people.
Right.
But we're Shinabs and we're from that knowledge. And so there may be some bitterness.
Yeah.
You might be able to hear that. But I think it's a bigger battle with me than it is you, considering I'm called a half-breed. And those two major halves are English and Anishinaabe. And little speckle of this, that, and the other.
Right.
But that's the main melting pot of me. What about you?
Anishinaabe and a little French, Canadian French, to keep me humble. So, hail from the Coudray reservation, and my father and my mother both hail from there, and my grandma and my grandpa. So.
Now, is this the same reservation system that Hitler thought was so well set up that he mirrored the concentration camps after?
Yeah, you are correct there.
Wow. And he did get that idea of getting pedigrees, and but they didn't have ID cards back then.
No.
What a bummer.
Yeah.
Next best thing. What's the next best thing if you can't get ID cards?
Tattoo them up.
Right there. Tattoo them up.
Right on the forearm, right?
Right?
Yeah.
That was the mark of a beast.
Right.
I don't know if metaphorically the beast of man.
Right. But they could never break our people though, right?
Not all of them.
Right.
Because there's some of us that are still fighting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are bending to that stressing point, though.
Yeah. The weight, if you will.
We're at that pivotal point where the milk is about to be poured on the cereal. Remember that in the yellow box with the black writing?
Oh yeah, I do.
And it said, what was it? Rice puffs.
Yeah.
You know, because we couldn't get that snap, crackle, pop. We weren't.
Oh right, yep.
We had to get the Kamad cereal.
Yeah.
There was only 2 colors on the boxes.
Yeah.
And you'd go into the cities, and then you'd have friends and stuff that would have those sugar snaps and the Cocoa Puffs, and you'd be like, "What? Cornflakes again?" Or oatmeal.
Yes. Farina.
Right. But we were both in an ironic way spared of res life.
Yeah.
Where our lives are similar in a sense that I've been reflecting on, and I hope we get into this, you know, but I would say in the same pain.
Ooh. Yeah.
Whereas we were both, I used to joke and call myself a concrete engine. Because my family, my mother, was from the White Earth Reservation up in northern Minnesota. However, because of the whole relocation of the 60s, and how dare a white man marry a native woman, and a couple other compromising challenges thereof, drove them from the Detroit Lakes area to St. Paul, where I was born at St. John's Hospital, raised in North St. Paul, and I would say we were almost middle class. You know, little 3-bedroom apartment with an unfinished basement. Parents were trying to buy a house, you know. But we went to the reservations, you know, birthdays, powwows. But then we would go over to Minneapolis, where you know about,
Yeah.
where some people call Little Earth.
Oh yeah.
You remember those days?
I do. Quite well.
And you've forgotten some of them too, right?
You know it.
Intentionally or?
A little both, probably.
Right.
Yeah. Lovely area. A lot of native people from all over Turtle Island, Canada, and the like. So, quite a time back then.
Franklin
Avenue.
Franklin up to Chicago.
Yep.
Well, I would say even up to like Park.
Yeah.
Or would you even dare to say all the way up to the highway?
All the way down there to the highway. You are correct.
If you were lucky enough to get east of 35,
Yeah.
you had it a little better.
There you go.
You know, that was the goal.
Yeah.
That was moving west.
Yeah.
Getting west of 35
Mm-hmm.
was the goal of the hood.
Yeah. If you could.
And then once you got to Chicago, you were like right there.
Yeah. In the heart.
Yeah. And then right to the east of the hood, to the heart of the hood, was Little Earth.
Right.
You know, and then if you could get past 55, Hiawatha,
Mm-hmm.
to the east,
Yeah.
life got a little better.
Yeah. You are correct there.
You know, but dare you step off Little Earth Reservation and go east of Hiawatha without a reason, unless you're just jumping on the highway right away, then you best not go further. Because if you get towards that river being of some color, people start freaking out.
Right.
Those nice houses along the Mississippi.
Yeah.
So you tended to stay west of Hiawatha and east of 35, right?
Don't go there after dark. You are correct.
But you did,
I did. All over around there. Back in the heyday.
right?
Yeah. Knew a lot of people from all over back then.
Right, and then the Indian Center was up and running then,
Oh yeah. Long time.
right there on Franklin and, I want to say 16th?
Bloomington?
Bloomington?
Yeah. Right? No. Bloomington one more block down. Or
Oh, it'd be alphabetical, so Bloomington would be towards the east. And then that was where that then the library was the next block.
yeah.
And then it would be the Indian Center the next block.
Yeah.
And then it would be the old on-ramp to 94 and 35 crossings there and over to Cedar.
Yeah.
And then we had a park there where people got to hang out every now and then.
Yeah. What do they call that park?
I don't know, a place for the roaches.
There you go. Had to have been.
Now, do you think those roaches were cannabis?
You never know.
Roach Park?
Maybe. Wouldn't doubt it.
Or cockroach?
Maybe
Park?
a little of both.
Or, that'd be interesting to find out. My assumption is roaches from the cannabis,
Okay.
and that'd be a lot cooler if it was that.
I like that too.
You know, and then they just
could go
joke
with that.
roaches, cockroaches.
Yeah.
So that's the romantic story.
Right.
Because I think the natives would have instantly said, yeah, that cannabis is pretty cool. I'm all right with it.
You got that right.
But this is an assumption because I wasn't there. But I do know some of the teachings
Yeah.
where I've been told some of the teachings of our elders
Right.
and our ancestors, and from what they've taught me, if that cannabis plant is beneficial,
Right.
like anything, if it's beneficial, then you utilize it for its potential.
Right.
That it would actually be, what's the Christians call that when you do the naughty stuff?
Oh.
You know, confession.
Oh.
That was like a softball I lobbed to you there on a sin.
Yeah.
A sin.
Still,
A sin.
Mortal one, or just that in general?
Just in general.
Okay. Yeah.
I would think it would be a sin to not use cannabis,
I agree.
but it would be a sin to overuse cannabis too.
There you go.
So
In line with everything, right?
balance.
Yeah.
Yes. Balance.
Uh-huh.
Like a man on a tightrope, you must have balance
There you go.
if you're going to be getting high
Uh-huh.
above the audience in the center stage,
There you go.
walking a tightrope.
Uh-huh.
Which I would.
Uh-huh.
Would you?
Yeah, why not?
Did you know a little more native truisms? That the majority of the construction workers that did that there was our alarm that I thought was going to be a lot more silent than it was, that said there's nerds in the house.
Well, we got a lot of going on in the TP today, so
Nerd would
why
be
wouldn't that happen?
Desi.
Little flyby, you know.
Desi's the nerd. That was the nerd alarm. No, that was almost an hour we've been squawking.
Wow, that
I
went by
believe.
quick.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep going
Right?
until the album ends.
Oh, okay.
I think I was throwing this out there, and I'll spitball it here on the whole creation of what this is.
There you go.
You know, for the first couple times we do this, that we'll just go through the playlist of the Wookie Foot albums.
I like that.
Because,
got a good ring to it.
Because Mr. Mark Murphy has given me permission to utilize Wookie Foot if I ever did such a thing. And so I'm taking him on that, and if he has a problem with it, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if you are listening to this, and and this is going to have to be a total bummer.
Okay, another time.
Because we got to pause it. One quick second. Okay, I really apologize about that, but my littlest one called.
Oh.
And I had to take it.
Okay.
And I didn't mute the phone, and we didn't plan on doing this.
Right.
And so I just grabbed the recording stuff and said, "Hey, Desi, we're recording."
We're on live.
So we promise at some point we'll become less professional in the future.
Yeah.
So do you remember where we were? What were we talking about? Being native?
Yeah.
Growing up? A little bit of us growing up?
Yeah.
A little history?
Back on the reservation of the,
The city res.
That's it. Yeah, there you go.
The city res. The concrete reservation. Little Earth, where incredible stuff came from. AIM boys.
Yeah, there you go.
They came from those bars.
Yeah.
Those bars on
Franklin Avenue.
Franklin Avenue bars. And from Vietnam.
A lot of them were there back then.
And remember when they used to walk around because the cops wouldn't come?
Wouldn't
Cops
go around
wouldn't.
there.
They wouldn't come in Little Earth
Right.
after dark, and so the Native brothers, the AIM brothers, they would start patrolling the streets.
Yeah.
And they'd walk around with their berets,
Yeah.
and they'd say, "Bring it on." And they started making people feel safe again.
There you go. I remember that quite well.
I remember it too. I remember in Little Earth there in the middle park and stuff. There'd be 2 or 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
Just kind of milling around the park and just standing around and talking, and yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it till I got older, what it was all about.
Yeah.
You know, because those projects there, I remember my grandmother moving from apartment to apartment.
Yeah. From Little Earth?
Little Earth. Yep, Grandma got part of the relocation too a little bit after my mom.
Okay.
So yeah, she was there, and we would go there to the Indian Center, to the powwows.
Yeah.
Great memories there.
A lot of them back then. Right there.
Some scary memories too.
Oh yeah.
Of witnessing the atrocities. Nothing like they saw on December 26th, back during the hanging of the 38.
Right.
Was it 38 plus 2?
Yeah. And that would be down where?
Mankato.
Yeah.
Mankato. Do you remember who did that? Who was behind all that?
Who did that?
70 years ago.
Okay.
Our founding fathers. Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
Abram, the ancient Abram from Babylon.
Yeah.
You know, he's the one who was going to sacrifice his kid. Remember, God said, "Hey, Abram,
Oh, that.
Abram, sacrifice your kid."
Okay.
And he was like, "What?" He's like, "Hey, if you believe, if you love me, if you trust me."
Ooh, broke it down, eh?
Yeah, and he was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In the last minute, you know what happened?
What happened?
He said, "Stop!" I think an angel came in and said, "Stop!
Right.
God was just testing you."
Really?
Yeah.
What did he do after that?
He gave him an A+,
Okay.
and he gave him a new degree, and he said, "You now shall be called Abraham."
Wow.
They gave him a little dignitary title at the end of his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he traveled
Right.
and brought the teachings of his God throughout the Middle East.
I never knew that.
Very interesting when you look at his story.
No, I thought you were talking about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Yes, well, you know,
Okay.
he did free some people, right?
Yeah.
He freed those bankers of all their money
Okay.
in the South because he refused to sign the laws and stuff that they're trying to push in to get the banks to still run everything.
Yeah.
And he didn't want that. He didn't want the banks to control anything, and he wanted America to print money.
Uh-huh.
And so the South, where lots of money started to grow from, and a lot of connections to the old bank world.
Oh, okay.
Because up there in Boston and all of them, that was a different set of money too.
The money too thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, the money too.
You were talking about the flag earlier. The pirate flag.
The plagues? Oh, yeah.
Is that correlating to with the money and all of that?
Well, if all of a sudden Christopher Columbus, who was allegedly a Mason,
Okay.
his father was a historian and a map keeper for the Masons.
Oh,
His father-in-law, correct me.
Wow. Really?
And yeah, and these are the maps that he brought to the Queen of Spain,
Uh-huh.
allegedly.
Okay.
You know, but nobody talks about Rasputin. But anyway,
Uh-huh.
So they came to the land of the giants.
Really?
Yes.
Who would that be?
The Spaniards.
Right.
They came to the land of the giants.
Okay.
Average height in Spain, I think, was like 5'2".
Wow. Okay.
How big's a Shanab?
They're pretty big. Usually
Easily over
5'11"
6.
on up.
I would say.
Yeah.
I would say back in the day, easily over 6 feet.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Easily.
Oh yeah.
And I think we've actually gotten shorter.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so some of the original writings from the Spaniards, they called us what? Giants.
Giant people.
They called us giants.
Yeah.
And not giant red-haired people, but giant red-skinned
There
people. And if they, yeah. So there's a lot of confusion about the giants. But there are other giants.
Right.
You know, now we're going way, way, way back. Way, way, way back. But I don't think anybody's ready for that kind of eye-popping
That might be in
stuff
part
yet.
2.
Oh, maybe part 6.
Okay.
So,
That good, huh?
always that good.
Yeah.
And so, Columbus came over here and he just validated the truth that was known, that if you just drift along the transatlantic current, it will just deposit you into the Caribbeans.
How
Which is
convenient for them.
Which is exactly what the Phoenicians knew. Because the Phoenicians would come and they would go into the Caribbeans and then go up the Mississippi River and come and trade with the Anishinaabe for what? Wisconsin, your home
Beaver.
neck
A
of the...
mick.
No. That was the French wanted the beaver.
Okay.
From the ground.
Oh.
From the ground. If you got it
corn.
hot enough, it would flatten. They would get it super hot. And then they would pound it out. Kind of has a yellowy, reddish tint like our skin. Speaking of Lincoln, he's on the what? Coin?
Right.
What
Penny.
coin? Yes.
Copper.
Copper.
Bing, bing, bing,
Right.
bing.
And whose skin looks like copper?
Our people?
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Very, very strange in itself.
What a coinky
So the
dink.
Phoenicians would come in and they would trade with us for our copper.
Okay.
But at one point we got into a battle with them because we thought they were greedy.
Right.
Because we were like, hey, chill out on the taking of the copper.
Oh. Okay.
So I think we sent them back home. More than likely. You know, but I like to believe in the romanticism that if they came back with an apology, everything would have worked out. That's how I roll.
Right.
If you come back with an apology, no matter what we've gone through together, you know, and I'll apologize too if you know, if the need is there and if I've been pointed out where I've done someone wrong. I hope I will.
Good-hearted people are people, the Ojibwe.
Yeah, but ego gets in my way sometimes.
And you can't blame them for that.
Blame me.
Right.
Well, you could, but I'd rather you not. But it's your choice. But hold me to the fire, because I'll hold you to the fire of my love. Oh. So you know, once they found out this transatlantic current just like flowed that way, and all of a sudden they had the plagues in Europe, where in France they didn't have enough room to bury the bodies, and so they were burying them in the sewers.
Ooh.
They were burning the bodies, collecting the bones, and putting them in the caves under France, under Paris and stuff. Yeah, creepy. Look at those. Look at the bone caves of France and Paris.
Right.
yeah, so they would take all these bodies, put them on the ships, push them out into the ocean. They would drift along the coast to the transatlantic current. Usually they got towed down there.
Right.
And then they got towed, let go, and they would float across, crash into the eastern seaboard.
Yeah.
The curious Native Americans would go and check out these ships, find a bunch of dead bodies.
Right.
Then they go back to the village. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. And then?
Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead.
Oh. Wow.
And to put the crème de la cristance,
Yeah.
or the pièce de la résistance, or the crème de la crème,
Creme de la creme.
on top, the cherry.
Yeah.
A couple hundred years later, they're like, hey, take these blankets.
Oh.
Now it's take this vaccination. Ooh,
Right.
take this vaccine.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, a lot of our people died.
Mm.
They died for sure, for sure, for sure.
Right.
So, yeah, there may be a little bitterness here and there,
I could only imagine.
right? Then to topple on top of that,
Yeah.
to throw on top of that the fact that the English side of me,
Yeah.
that was all gung-ho
Right.
and did what? As-
Held it back?
Oh no, I had to be an Ogichiga in my head.
Oh.
I had to be a warrior.
Yeah.
You know, those natives, that warrior society. But I don't really care for the word warrior.
Right.
I would rather be a defender
Yeah.
than a warrior because I'm not into war at all. And I'm not a fan of being a soldier because I don't like the idea of blindly following. But I understand in a wartime situation the need of the machine to roll so well.
Right.
Because if it didn't, then the machines didn't work like they wanted them to. But the sad part is that the powers that should be designed the machines.
Around what time of in creation would that have occurred? The machine.
The war machine?
There you go.
Probably since the time man decided to circumcise his penis.
Oh. Okay.
Was that an ow? Or
That was
an
a oh my god
Yeah.
kind of a thing there.
Oh my, your, our
Yeah.
gods,
There you
goddesses,
All of it.
D, all of the above.
There you go.
But yeah, think about it. A man's penis, they circumcise it. And then they expose the most sensitive part of a man's body besides his lips. And so consistently throughout the day, his circumcised penis is rubbing up against his pants, his underwear, and getting temporarily stimulated without any type of release of the stimulation. So then the overabundance of stimulation into the subconscious, conscious sexual frustration, and the tea kettle sits and boils, and the boiler room sits there and boils, and the dam gets a crack.
That's very deep. Where are you going with that?
And Hoover Dam being very deep,
Yeah.
and when it cracks and the dam splits
Right.
and the water comes out,
And then what?
wars and rumors of wars, and men and their testosterone with nothing to do because Sunday football isn't going to fulfill that testosterone urge. Because as loud as you yell at the TV, Did you really do anything
No,
to help that team win or lose?
probably not.
Well, it depends on if you wore those socks. Those special socks.
It paid into the very thing.
Those socks that you got for $29.99 that say, what's your team?
Right.
Right? The Washington Redskins?
Not even.
That's not your team?
No.
But they're strongly representing the Native American in a warrior fashion.
Never got anything from them. I wouldn't know that.
Not even a sense of pride?
Not even. Couldn't have been.
But all of those men running around chasing that ball,
Right.
making other men lots and 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 lots of money.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. Money
Yeah.
in the banks and Lincoln and the war
All
and the
tied
end of
into
the record.
The end of the record.
The end of Domesticated.
How do you mean that?
This here is, I believe, the last song.
Okay. And we're gonna wrap
So,
it up then.
yeah.
Okay.
So how do we tie all of this up into a little bow?
How do we?
Well, the fog is getting thick,
Okay.
and if money was a metaphor,
Yeah.
they keep creating it, and so it gets thicker and thicker, and pretty soon all we see is money, and we don't see each other through the fog,
Yeah.
and so then we're not real things anymore. If we can't see each other, if we're blinded to each other because we're
Right.
so wrapped up in money, which is this establishment that we live in.
And we can't have that, correct?
Well, we could have it if people could use it in a more way that is positive.
Right.
But if we were to step back and generalize the whole spectrum of money,
Uh-huh.
I would say it's more negative than positive. Would you
Right.
agree on that?
I would definitely agree on that.
And is this the gold standard or the US dollar standard?
Right. Maybe a little of both.
Or Bitcoin?
The what? The Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
Oh.
Bitcoin now is nothing but within the computer world.
Uh-huh.
Somebody started a storage place and said, Desi,
Uh-huh.
since you gave me your real dollars, I'm giving you this imaginary internet money.
Right.
So in this storage database, it says Desi gave me $20 and I gave him 1/2 Bitcoin.
Oh.
And now these Bitcoins are $1,000 a Bitcoin. And people are getting rich on this no money.
It ain't even real then.
It is on the internet. Because
Right.
when you look on the internet, that's where the truth is.
Huh.
Didn't you know that?
No, never heard of that.
Haven't
No?
you been to Wikipedia?
To look up a word.
But I thought that's what we had our dictionaries for.
Yeah, but when you're out on a road and all of that, then you Wikipedia it. Right?
That is one way to look and test it.
Yeah.
But I think that's why they call it research.
Okay.
Or to vet something.
Yeah.
Or to fact check.
Yeah.
Check your facts.
Right.
One of my favorite expressions is better someone think you a fool. It is better that someone think you a fool than opening your mouth and proving them right. And so sometimes it's better just to keep your lips from moving, because you know, when that ego pops, the lips keep going, they never stop.
Right.
Then the foolishness starts to drop. Like the purple rain. It never gonna stop.
We ending the final part of the album. And it's been quite a wonderful talk. Appreciate you opening up that doorway.
The portal.
There you go.
Oh,
There we go.
there's our alarm.
Boom.
So we're gonna have to end it on this. So I say Gigawabamen
Gigawabamen Minawa.
and Ape Gish Bimad Desi Way Win.
Till we meet again.
Happy trails.
Good evening.
Toodles. Toodles. Yeah, that's a good one.
And all of that.
Toodles. Bonus material. No, just kidding. This isn't bonus material. And this isn't the future of the last time we were with you. Just that little break there. Apologize for the break. We had some technical difficulties. But we are here. Hear us now. So we're going to try this again. In the background, we have Wookie Foot playing, as we said earlier. And we got to give a big old shout out to Wookie Foot. That's one of the reasons me and Mr. Desi have met and crossed paths. So thank you for that, Wookie Foot. Mark Murphy.
Much
Jojo,
everybody.
The family. Sean. Got to say hi to Sean. So if you guys hear this, props to you guys. So we were talking a little bit about Shinab history. Shinab history, that's Anishinaabe. The French called us Ojibwe, and the English called us what, Desi?
Chippewa.
What?
Was it Chippewa?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was Chippewa.
Okay.
Chippewa.
Mhm.
Ojibwe.
Oh, breaking it down.
But I'd rather not be labeled by the dominant society.
I hear that.
I'd rather just be a Anishinaabe
Mm-hmm.
or a Shinab. But according to our teachings, we're all Shinabs.
Right.
All of us silly humans, or
Yeah.
humane
Mm-hmm.
beings. Humane beans and eggs.
Yeah.
Beans and pork. Do you like bacon in your baked beans?
Once in a while.
Do you remember those old cans of baked beans, and they would have that white chunk of bacon lard in it?
Yeah, the treat.
The treat. I don't remember if it was a treat. I don't remember if I
Close
ever
for
was.
us, guys.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, bacon fat sandwiches.
There you go.
That's poor.
Mhm.
That's P-O-R without both O's. That's
You
pole.
can't even afford the R and poor.
Right?
That's how poor you are.
He's po.
Yeah. He's pole.
Yeah, I kind of had both worlds.
Okay.
We apologize for any amateur smoking or choking or coughing.
Right.
We can't confirm nor deny why that's occurring, but we'll let you guess
Right.
about it. And I apologize for my pauses too as I ponder.
Mm-hmm. So, both worlds then, kind of like the moccasin and the cowboy boot, eh? NeSe? Is that what you're referring
Yeah,
to?
I did
Okay.
have cowboy boots.
Okay, so...
Yes, in high school I had cowboy boots.
Wow, literally, huh?
Literally in cowboy boots. I wanted to be a cowboy.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. How did that work for you?
Didn't last long. I started listening to more and more country music, and it just did.
So
It
you're
just
rocking
didn't
a
work for me.
cowboy boot and...
It couldn't rock the music.
Right.
But I really got into those old truck driving songs.
Remember any by chance? Do you
Yeah,
remember any?
that's sometime in the future.
No,
but,
another story. Okay.
right.
So, okay. So
I'll
the
sing it
moccasin-
sometime, but
moccasin
not
cowboy
truck driving
boots.
songs.
Metaphorically, hey?
Right? Well, because when we were kids, cowboys and Indians,
Mm-hmm.
you played cowboys and Indians, right?
Everybody did back then.
Right? Were you the Indian by selection, or did you play
Yeah, it
cowboys?
was always like a little heated kind of a thing back then. But then I wanted to run off with the native people as always. But once in a while, you know, there was that guy. What was his name? The Lone Ranger and who?
Tonto?
There you go.
The noble savage.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember as a kid in the spring,
Mm-hmm.
I could play the cowboy,
Okay.
but by the fall,
You were
after my
back.
tan, nope, they wouldn't let me. I had to be the Indian,
Right.
you know, and it was the whole skin thing.
Right.
I was stereotyped.
Okay.
I was typecast.
Mm-hmm.
Now Tonto definitely was a native, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now,
I
wasn't
could tell.
that guy, remember the old commercial of the 70s with the Native American on the horse with the tear coming down his eye?
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah, I forgot
pollution guy?
Yeah.
Now, wasn't he Italian?
You know, thinking back, he may have been, but he was chief, wasn't he? They had him looking like one, right?
Right. He had the garb,
Yep.
had the tone,
Mm-hmm.
skin tone,
Yep.
had the tear,
That's right. Definitely
Had
had
that-
the tear. Yeah.
had that good, cracked, old, weathered face.
Yep.
Weather, not leather,
Yep.
but a little bit of the same.
Geez, that's
But,
an old commercial, man.
Right? And he was replaced by an owl.
Yeah.
Give a hoot.
There you go.
Don't pollute.
And then the bear, right? Wasn't it there?
Well, that was the fire guy.
Okay.
Smokey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Only you can prevent forest
There you
fires.
go. So the two worlds then back then.
Living in both of them, yes.
Okay.
But,
did you find yourself where back then?
Inconclusive of a decision because it was a constant, you know, who am I,
Okay.
native or white?
Right. So constantly the back and forth, if you will.
And not
Teeter-totter.
and not being raised on the reservation
Mhm.
and not being raised traditionally
Right.
with a Lutheran upbringing.
Ooh. Okay.
It was really strange because at one time, at the age of 15, I believe it was, I said I'm no longer going to church to my father.
Whoa. And to tell your dad something like that back then was a miracle in itself, huh?
Well, it wasn't too difficult considering my dad's idea of church was I'll be back to pick you up in an hour.
Oh, okay. He didn't go up in there with you.
No.
Okay.
Well, he drove truck all week,
Okay.
so he was only home on the weekends.
Oh.
And so being at home on weekends and taking care of a house,
Right.
you know, didn't really have time to
Do
go
all
to
of
church.
that. Hmm.
You know, and so I understood where he was coming from,
Yeah.
you know, and I went there and the hypocrisy of it
Uh-huh.
just turned it off.
Right.
Totally turned off when, well, I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
I was leaving the church.
Right.
Everything got done, and the priest is like shaking people's hand, and you know the priest is trying to get everybody out so he can say hello to everybody. And
Right.
a family in front of me was kind of lingering, and it was this family that was well-to-do,
Mm-hmm.
and they definitely could be be pointed out as being well-to-do just by their mannerisms and their clothing and whatnot.
Right.
And as they're kind of being pushed out so the priest could talk to me,
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's all like, "Hey, Kevin, how are you doing?" That is my Christian name, Kevin.
Okay.
And as soon as the attention was directed to me and this family in front of me saw me, all of a sudden it was like I was the long-lost son.
Wow.
You know, I was the returned son.
Okay.
And I was just dumbfounded. Because just the day before, while at the local mall,
Right.
me and said family
Mm-hmm.
crossed paths where they were walking one way and I was walking the other way. And as they received me there at the church, do you think they received me that same way as we crossed paths?
Oh.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I think one of them just looked at me, no acknowledged me or nothing.
Oh, okay.
And I think I was in the son or daughter's class in school. And that just disgusted me.
Immediately you
And then
made up your mind then?
Yep. And that was kind of the... well, because I would read these stories too in the Bible and I would just be like, this don't make sense.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. And they couldn't answer my questions. And they were telling me about having faith and belief. And I was just too concrete.
Okay.
You know, unlike now.
Yeah.
Because as though I am somewhat concrete, I'm more of a clay where I have witnessed things once that I have taken on my Native American upbringing or spiritualism or directions.
Yeah.
Then I realized where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Anishinaabe, I said, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's who I am, Anishinaabe, as you've proclaimed yourself.
Right.
And I don't know if you just caught that. The music just ended.
That's our 15.
That was our kind of a bonus section there.
Right.
Because we said that we were going to talk throughout the whole disc. And we did.
We made that happen.
Yeah. And next time we'll probably maybe set a timer.
Okay.
Or something so we can do it a little more professional. Oh, we're not supposed to be making excuses for ourselves on the air.
Thank you.
Or in the air.
Well, that 15 minutes went real quick. And,
right.
I look forward to the up and coming one. That'll be volume 3, I believe. So thank you once again.
Yeah,
NeSe.
this is Desi and I, NeSe. We haven't come up with any kind of label yet for this. So
All in the making.
If you can get a hold of us before this gets, whatever it gets done with,
Okay.
give us some names out there. Give us a call at, we don't have a phone number or nothing. Well, we got phone numbers.
In the making.
Not even a website, not even a...
You gotta love that, though.
Yeah, it's just raw.
Yeah.
Smoking raw.
There you go.
So, thank you. Ape gish bima de zi way win.
Ahoo, ahoo.
Gigawabaman.